Is it wrong to look back at our lives? Uh, People will tell us, don't look in the rear view mirror. But try to tell a 75-year-old not to reminisce. You can't do it. It's an inescapable feature of life. And heck, it's a fact of life at any age. Now, I do it because it helps me remember the person that I once was. Today, I want to talk about versions of ourselves that are gone and why missing them is part of our strength. Be honest with yourself. However old you are, when you look at past versions of yourself, you're usually faster, healthier, maybe even better looking. That memory can make you smile, but it can also bring a wave of sadness as well. But I'm suggesting that both can be a great advantage to us. This is part of my Life at 75 Reflections series, where I look back at my life, at parts of my life that I used to want to keep private, because they might be something that you can relate to. In a previous video, we covered life's regrets. But looking back isn't always negative. Sometimes it's just remembering friendships, remembering lessons and seasons of our lives. For example, I think a lot of my best friend when I was in my 30s. Cancer took him when he was just 33. Brad was the most energetic, positive, and alive person that I've ever known. His optimism was an inspiration to me. He loved life. He loved history. And he often exclaimed that, "Don't we live in the most amazing time of all of history?" That was Brad. And losing him was sad. But knowing Brad as I did, he wouldn't have wanted it to be a sad thing. And now, whenever I think of Brad, it brings a smile to my face. Because he's not gone, he's still here with me. Yeah, he's missed, but I don't see it as a negative. Because his memory adds a richness and a depth to my life and to the lives of the many people that he touched. And in recent years, I've begun seeing parallels to the memory of Brad with the memory of my former self that I also miss. Both are gone, yet both are still alive inside of me. So here's what I miss most about me. I miss how I felt that my life was unlimited. In my 30s and in my 40s, I felt like any project could be successful because the road ahead was infinite. I had energy, high hopes, and a can-do attitude that I built by reading tons of self-help books and attending seminars. I did that because I had to pull myself out of the cult upbringing that I had. And I needed every bit of that fire when, at one time, a company that I worked for suddenly folded. And I used that experience and that training to build my own company. There were a couple of years of fits and starts, moving forward, but then having to pivot around obstacles until the time that everything just came together. That was the unstoppable me. But now at 75, that unlimited me is gone. Or is it? I used to not have an answer for that. But recently I've been coming to a different conclusion. And something that I remember Kierkegaard said that gave me some clarity on this. He said that life can only be understood backwards, but it has to be lived forwards. That quote got me thinking about how we actually navigate our lives. It's a bit like driving a car. I'm in the car right now, as you can tell, but the windshield before me allows me to see and look forward, but it also allows me to be present, where all of life is happening. But the rearview mirror is there for a reason. It allows us to have perspective, and perspective gives us and brings us harmony. Now let's talk about the close cousin to reminiscing, and that's nostalgia. Nostalgia is the emotion that allows us to bridge the gap of time. We can watch a movie that we may have watched a dozen times, and yet it still affects us deeply. It can connect us to a different world and a different time than the one we occupy at the moment. Nostalgia has a strange power, doesn't it? The rearview mirror allows us to reference our former self and understand things that we may not understand any other way. Times of great joy and also times of sorrow, and stories of love and stories of loss. That reminiscing can feel like a great friend, but it can also feel like a place we'd sometimes rather just not visit. And both can be triggered without warning. And I see both aspects as vital parts of a rich and full life. Well, let's stay with that car metaphor for a minute. I was driving the other day when a song that I hadn't heard in years came on. And instantly, I was 30 again, driving on a warm, sunny summer afternoon, windows rolled down and singing at the top of my lungs. And I felt like forever stretched out in front of me. Now that's the sweet side. But then there's also the ache that accompanies it. The reminder that those days are gone, that that person that I was is gone, and I miss him. I miss the energy, the innocence, the sense of endless possibility. That's the nostalgia paradox. It comforts, and yet at the same time it kind of wounds us as well. And that's the essence of my Brad story, the emotional paradox. Just like my life presents the same emotional paradox. But in recent years, I've begun reframing things in a way that better serves me. A way that allows me to miss the me that's never coming back with the me, the Mel that I am today. And it's working for me. Here's what I'm doing. I'm changing the way that I see the losses. I'm beginning to see the Mel that I assumed was never coming back as the me that really never left. His optimism, his fortitude, his let's go again attitude left an indelible mark. Even his flexible mind and his ability to adapt whenever he was boxed in, all those former me's. The people that I once was, they're still inside of me because they made me who I am today. And it's my bet that you feel that too. This truth came clear to me when it tested me recently. A few years ago, my wife almost succumbed to stage 4 cancer, and I became the caregiver that I never imagined that I could be. And now, while I credit her resilience for the complete recovery that she made, I still learned a ton about myself. For one, I learned that I could hold doubt and optimism together. And I witnessed my youthful exuberance as it turned into the wisdom of experience. Now, here's what that shift looked like. The speed and agility that I used to rely on gave way to a patience and a steadiness. And the boundless can-do attitude that I had matured into knowing when to do and when not to. And my physical endurance turned into emotional endurance. And I needed them all. And my understanding is still deepening. And I'm learning more about those versions of myself that have never really left. They may not hold the steering wheel anymore, but they shape the decisions that direct my life today. They no longer live on their own, conquering worlds, but they're no longer screaming headlong into dead ends. You know what I mean? It's that former self, that youthful pride that used to have us running into walls just to see if they would break. I don't need that anymore. So now, the me that I thought I lost brings the same smile to my face that Brad does. And you know what? I think the same has to be true for you as well. I mean, aren't we all just composites of all of our former selves? Of everything we've ever been and every chapter that we've ever lived. The good, the bad, the happy, the sad, all rolled into the you that you are right now. The you see in the mirror every day. The you that is so valuable to all of the people that you share your life with. Now, I don't claim to have life's answers, but I do know that I like to find ways to find more peace and gratitude. And right now I'm coming to realize that reminiscing is a gift that lets us revisit all those old selves. And not to stay there, but to learn how to use them to help us in our lives today. Maybe that's nature's reason for nostalgia, to remind us that our past isn't gone, but guidance and fuel for our present. Let's celebrate all our lives together with open arms. I'd love to hear your take on this. What has nostalgia done for you? What memories are most poignant? Share with us. And like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos on life at 75. Let's find common ground, and I'll see you in the comments. Thank you.